At 56 years old, Kirk Frost, who's been married to Rasheeda for years, has finally revealed a shocking truth that no one could have predicted. Kendra, the woman at the heart of this drama, has been exposed in ways that will completely change everything you thought you knew about this reality TV star's life. What is the jaw-dropping secret that's been kept under wraps for so long? Stay tuned, because this scandal is about to unravel in ways you wouldn't believe. Welcome back to our channel, where we dive into the latest and most mind-blowing controversies. The entertainment world is buzzing with controversies that are shaking things up today, and we've got a massive revelation that will make you question everything you thought you knew about Kirk Frost and his connection with Kendra. For years, fans have been intrigued by the complex dynamics of Kirk and Rasheeda's marriage. But now, at 56, Kirk has finally opened up about Kendra, and the truth is far from what anyone anticipated. In this video, we're going to dive into the shocking series of events that led to this revelation, explore the details of the affair, and discuss how this is set to change everything moving forward. Kirk, Rasheeda, and Kendra. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next, especially with the cliffhangers that are about to have you sitting on the edge of your seat. So grab a seat, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and let's dive right in. Before we reveal the shocking truth, let's quickly rewind and look at how this scandal all came to the surface. The story of Kirk Frost and Kendra is far from your usual affair. It's a tale that has been simmering for quite some time, with rumors and whispers spreading for months, if not years. Kirk, who is known for Kirk has been married to Rasheeda for years, and their marriage appeared solid and private, with Kirk managing to keep his personal life tightly controlled. But what we didn't know was that behind the scenes, things weren't as flawless as they appeared. It all began when Kendra entered the picture. Known to many as a savvy businesswoman and entrepreneur, Kendra had been part of Kirk's social circle for some time. However, their connection slowly evolved over time. At first, it seemed harmless, a friendship, maybe a few casual interactions in public. But as time went on, it became clear that there was more to this relationship than met the eye. Sometimes, the most closely guarded secrets are revealed in the most unexpected ways. Then came the turning point, the moment when the cracks in the perfect facade began to appear. It was an event no one anticipated, especially not the fans who had been cheering for Kirk and Rasheeda. Whispers started circulating and rumors began flying about Kirk and Kendra being spotted together on several occasions, not just in professional settings. Their connection seemed to be more than anyone could have imagined. But here's the twist. It wasn't just about the secret meetings or intimate gatherings behind closed doors. Behind every move, there was something darker, something far more scandalous than anyone expected. What happened next will leave you stunned. As the rumors gained momentum, something explosive occurred behind the scenes. Kirk took a step no one could have predicted. The lingering question was always, what did Kendra know, and how deep was she involved? The answers were coming soon, but not in the way anyone anticipated. Fast forward to a pivotal moment when Kendra finally spoke out. She was done staying silent and decided it was time to clear the air and reveal the truth. For months, whispers had swirled, but no one had the full story. In a bold move, Kendra chose to share her side, and what she uncovered was nothing short of earth-shattering. Her statement wasn't just a simple confession or a heartfelt apology. It was a full-on revelation that sent shockwaves through the world of reality TV and stunned fans everywhere. What she exposed about her connection with Kirk Frost forced everyone to reconsider everything they thought they knew about him. The seemingly loyal husband, Kirk, the husband of Rasheeda, had been living a double life, and Kendra had been right there, experiencing it all. This affair wasn't just a fleeting mistake. It was a deep emotional bond that lasted for months, possibly even years. Kendra openly discussed the emotional manipulation and the secrecy that shrouded their relationship. At first, she admitted that she was swept up by the attention and the promises Kirk made to her, but as time passed, she began to realize the gravity of the situation. This wasn't just some casual fling. It was something much more complicated than she had ever imagined. Kirk had promised her a future, a life. Beyond the cameras and the glitz of reality TV, there was a side to Kirk that no one saw. He wasn't the caring, family-oriented man everyone believed him to be. Instead, he was manipulative, calculating, and at times, even cruel. Behind closed doors, he played a much darker role. But what Kendra revealed next was even more shocking than anything we could have expected. It wasn't just the betrayal toward Rasheeda that stunned everyone. It was the level of gaslighting and emotional abuse that took place. Kendra bravely shared how Kirk would constantly promise to leave Rasheeda and build a life with her, only to break those promises again and again, leaving her trapped in a cycle of false hope. Kirk would always backtrack, and the depth of his manipulation was far more complex than anyone had ever imagined. So, how did Kendra respond? She fought back, determined to share her own truth and expose what had really been happening behind the scenes. But just as she was preparing to reveal everything, an unexpected bombshell dropped. Someone came forward with a statement that completely flipped the narrative. This shocking twist will have you questioning everything you thought you knew. As Kendra's truth started to surface, things took a turn no one saw coming. The audience was hooked, sitting on the edge of their seats, anxiously awaiting the next shocking turn. Just as Kendra was about to take center stage and expose the truth, a new player unexpectedly entered the scene, someone no one could have predicted. And with this new figure came a revelation so powerful, it made everything Kendra had just shared seem like child's play. This new player was a woman from Kirk's past, someone whose presence signs had been kept hidden in the shadows for years. While Kendra was opening up about the lies, the affair, and the emotional abuse, this woman was about to take the story in an entirely different direction. The mysterious woman had her own explosive tale to tell, and when her story broke, it sent shockwaves through the already tangled drama. This woman, who had a history with Kirk long before Rasheeda, claimed that Kirk had been deceiving his wife for far longer than anyone had ever known. But that wasn't all. She uncovered dark secrets about the Frost family that had been kept hidden for years. These weren't just rumors, but deep, unsettling truths. She revealed financial fraud, behind-the-scenes manipulation, and relationships that were built on nothing but lies. It was a bombshell that no one saw coming, one that turned everything upside down. The revelation from this woman was even more unexpected than anyone could have imagined, completely eclipsing Kendra's initial expose. The real shocker? This woman came prepared with undeniable proof. Screenshots, text messages, and even voice recordings of Kirk himself, plotting how he would manipulate both Kendra and Rasheeda. These recordings were chilling, exposing just how far Kirk was willing to go to keep up his double life. But the surprises didn't stop there. This woman wasn't the only one who had fallen victim to Kirk's false promises. A number of other women stepped forward, each sharing eerily similar stories. And it wasn't just about the affairs. It was about something far deeper. Kirk's manipulation was far more insidious than anyone had realized. He had been pitting multiple women against each other, all while maintaining the illusion of a stable family life. This moment marked a turning point in the entire scandal. Just when Kendra believed she was unveiling the full extent of Kirk's deceit, this new figure completely flipped the narrative. The story became even more tangled, leaving the audience in shock, struggling to figure out what was truly happening, and what was part of a much deeper, more twisted web of lies. And just when it seemed like the worst had already come to light, Kirk's own responses to these accusations added fuel to the fire, raising even more questions about his role in this chaotic mess. Instead of owning up to his actions, Kirk went on the defensive, insisting that everything was a misunderstanding. He claimed that people were out to destroy his reputation, and that he had been set up by those plotting against him. But were his words merely a PR tactic, or did they hold a shred of truth? Kendra and the mysterious woman weren't the only ones ready to share their side of the story. What happened next was a total game changer. Rasheeda, the woman who should have felt the deepest betrayal, was about to step forward and take the stand. Everyone was waiting to hear from her, and what she had to say was bound to shift the entire narrative. The woman who Kirk was meant to love and protect was finally ready to speak her truth. The world held its breath as Rasheeda, who had remained mostly silent in the early days of the scandal, prepared to step into the spotlight. As the drama unfolded and the media storm grew, Rasheeda knew it was time to take control, not just for herself, but for her children, her marriage, and for the millions of fans who had stood by the Frost family through it all. When Rasheeda finally took to social media, her words were poised to change everything. The ente. Rasheeda didn't just focus on Kirk's affairs or the lies he had told her. She opened up about something far more painful: the emotional manipulation, the years of silence, and how she had been gaslighted into believing she wasn't deserving of respect. In a shocking confession, Rasheeda admitted that for years she had been aware of Kirk's infidelities. She had sensed something was off, but the truth came to her gradually, taking years to fully accept. She shared that what hurt her most wasn't the physical affairs, but the emotional betrayal and the constant manipulation she endured. It was the way Kirk had twisted her perception of herself that left deeper scars. Rasheeda revealed how Kirk had exploited her insecurities, convincing her that the issues in their relationship were her fault. She had been made to believe that she was the problem, that everything falling apart was on her. She admitted that she had kept quiet for the sake of their children, the family they had built, and the public image they had worked so hard to maintain. But the real revelation came when Rasheeda dropped a bombshell. She spoke of a secret therapy session she had attended, one Kirk knew nothing about. In that session, she was encouraged to finally confront him, to face the lies and the hurt he had inflicted on her for all these years. That session marked a turning point for Rasheeda, her spark of courage. It was the moment she broke free from denial and decided to let the truth breathe in public. Until then, her silence had been a silent permission slip for Kirk's harmful behavior. But now, the illusion shattered. Rasheeda opened up, revealing that despite her efforts to hold the marriage together, Kirk's choices had pushed her beyond her limit. The weight of everything she had uncovered made it impossible to keep up appearances. This was no longer just about infidelity. It was about reclaiming her dignity, her voice, and her sense of self. She came to a powerful realization. Staying in a relationship that constantly drained her spirit was no longer an option. With quiet strength, she opened up about her journey, not just a recovery from betrayal, but a deep healing from the silent wounds no one saw, the manipulation, the emotional bruises, the hurt behind closed doors. Her words were calm, her delivery composed, but underneath there was an unmistakable ache, a raw sorrow that lingered. And yet, instead of lashing out or seeking revenge like many expected, she chose something far stronger. She flipped the narrative. Rasheeda wasn't just reacting, she was reclaiming her power. This wasn't about Kirk anymore. It was about her, taking the pen and rewriting her own story. Still, one question hung heavy in the air. What now? Would she stay in the marriage to keep her family together, or finally choose herself over a man who had shattered her trust time and again? Meanwhile, Kirk wasn't stepping back. He released a statement of his own, trying to twist the truth into a version that suited him. But just as everyone thought the dust was settling, the real shock hit. A revelation so explosive, it turned everything on its head. As the drama spiraled deeper, fans and followers found themselves questioning everything they thought they knew. And just when the spotlight seemed fixed, another unexpected player stepped into view. Kendra. Her name had floated in whispers during the early days of the scandal, dismissed by many as just another name in Kirk Frost's chaotic trail. But what happened next shattered that assumption. After staying silent for so long, Kendra didn't just speak, she made an entrance. Not with a vague statement, but with a bombshell that no one saw coming. In an exclusive interview that set social media ablaze, Kendra dropped a revelation that no one could have predicted. She wasn't just a side character in Kirk's story. She had been entangled in a long-standing, emotionally charged, and deeply toxic relationship with him. According to Kendra, Kirk had painted a picture of a future together, convincing her that he was steps away from leaving Rasheeda. It was a carefully spun lie that made the betrayal cut even deeper for everyone involved. But this wasn't just an affair. It was a masterclass in manipulation, built on deception, control, and emotional chaos. Kendra spoke with a raw honesty that pulled back the curtain on years of deceit. In the beginning, she admitted she felt flattered by Kirk's attention. He sold her a dream, whispers of a deep connection, promises of a love that felt different, real. He told her he was stuck in an unhappy marriage, and she believed him. For a while, she truly thought she was the missing piece, the one who gave him something Rasheeda couldn't. But as time wore on, the illusion began to crack. The truth hit hard. She wasn't special. She was just another in a long line of women fed the same script. And what came next? That's what truly stunned everyone watching. Kendra's admission was like a punch to the gut. She wasn't the only one. Kirk had juggled multiple women, each one believing she was the one he would choose to build a future with. Kendra laid bare the truth. She had been just as much a victim of Kirk's manipulation as Rasheeda. But what really shook everyone was Kendra's lack of remorse. Instead of regret for her role in tearing apart a family, she seemed to justify her actions. She argued that Kirk had led her to believe they had something real, making it easier for her to overlook the consequences of her involvement. Kendra described how she had been deceived, emotionally exploited, and manipulated by Kirk, painting herself as just another casualty of his lies. At first, many felt sympathy for her. After all, she was just another victim caught in his web. But then came the shocking bombshell. Kendra revealed that Kirk had promised her that once Rasheeda found out about their affair, he would leave her, and crown Kendra as the queen of his life. That admission shifted the narrative. People began to question how much of Kendra's involvement had been driven by her own desires, and how much was the result of Kirk's manipulation. Could Kendra have ever truly been innocent in all this? The questions now swirling around Kendra were impossible to ignore. Was she truly in love with Kirk, or had she used the affair as a stepping stone to elevate her status, inserting herself into the Frost family's tangled drama? But the real shock came when Kendra dropped the ultimate bombshell. She revealed that Kirk had secretly recorded numerous intimate conversations with her, private moments, confidential discussions, and even plans they had made together. These recordings, she claimed, would become crucial evidence in the war between Kirk and Rasheeda. But there was a twist. Kendra claimed she still had those recordings, and she was prepared to use them as leverage. Kendra's threat to release the recordings if things didn't go her way was a game changer. It left both Kirk and Rasheeda exposed, their secrets hanging by a fragile thread. Fans were on edge, eagerly awaiting the next twist in this unfolding drama. What no one realized, though, was that Kendra's revelation was just the beginning. The Frost family's dirty laundry was being aired out in real time, and the entire world was watching, captivated by every shocking moment. As the dust started to settle, it became clear this scandal was far from over. Kirk's secret affair with Kendra had ignited a firestorm, and things were only getting hotter. Rasheeda was shattered, but the aftermath of Kendra's explosive revelations didn't end there. With the drama quickly escalating, the Frost family found themselves thrust into the eye of a media storm. As expected, Rasheeda was the first to speak out. Heartbroken by the betrayal, she was also enraged by the way Kirk had manipulated everyone in his orbit for so long. In interviews, Rasheeda didn't hold back. She poured out her feelings of humiliation and sadness, revealing the immense weight of the emotional toll this ordeal had taken on her. It was a struggle, confronting not just the betrayal, but the public spectacle her private life had become. For Rasheeda, the hardest part wasn't just the affair. It was the betrayal from someone she had once trusted completely. The man she had built her life with had deceived her, feeding her lies for years. She had to come to terms with the painful truth. Her family, her home, her relationship with Kirk, everything had been built on a foundation of falsehoods. But she wasn't the only one left to pick up the pieces. As the affair made headlines, Kirk's family and friends found themselves caught in the crossfire. Some rushed to Rasheeda's side, offering their support, while others, torn between loyalty and truth, struggled to choose a side. The scandal wasn't just playing out in the public eye. It was pulling at the fabric of their entire inner circle. Kirk's inner circle was in disbelief, reeling from the fallout. But then came an unexpected turn. His mother, in a tearful interview, publicly expressed her profound disappointment in her son's actions. Yet, as she spoke, she revealed something no one saw coming. She suggested that Kirk's troubled childhood and his personal struggles might have played a role in his behavior. Kirk's mother shared that he had always struggled with commitment and trust, even as a child. She confessed that she had tried to warn him about his destructive patterns in the past, but it seemed her warnings had gone unheard. It seemed that Kirk hadn't truly grasped the magnitude of of his actions until it was far too late. Despite his mother's emotional words, the situation grew even more tangled as other women began to emerge from the shadows. Kendra wasn't the only one caught in Kirk's secret life. Several other women, some of whom had been involved with him in the past, and others who had only recently crossed paths with him, came forward. They confirmed that Kirk had been juggling multiple affairs at once, creating a web of lies so intricate it seemed impossible to untangle. The revelations piled on, leaving everyone in disbelief at how deeply Kirk had woven his deceit. For years, Kirk had been living a double life, and the public was just beginning to uncover the full extent of his deceit. For Rasheeda, the pressure to react amidst the new wave of revelations was becoming unbearable. As a mother, a businesswoman, and a public figure, she was expected to maintain composure, even as the fallout from her husband's actions shook her world. Yet, she wasn't afraid to speak her truth. In a powerful Instagram post, Rasheeda shared a message that resonated deeply with her followers. She wrote, "I don't owe anyone an explanation. I'm focused on healing and making sure my kids are okay. This is about me and my family, and I will do whatever it takes to protect them from the chaos." Rasheeda's message was a powerful declaration of strength, one that resonated deeply with women who had found themselves in similar situations. It empowered them to stand up for themselves and take control of their own destinies. Her response made it clear that no matter what happened with her, she was determined not to let his actions define her. But just when it seemed like things couldn't spiral further, a new twist emerged, a plot that no one saw coming. The twist no one saw coming was Kirk's desperate attempt to salvage his image and marriage. In a bold move, he decided to take matters into his own hands and appeared on social media, addressing the affair publicly for the first time. In a tear-filled video, Kirk admitted to his mistakes, expressing deep regret for the pain he had caused Rasheeda and their family. He begged for forgiveness, not only from Rasheeda but from the public as well. Yet there was one glaring detail in his apology that stood out. It wasn't so much about taking full responsibility for his actions, but more about shifting the blame and framing himself as the victim of circumstances. Kirk's attempt to portray himself as the victim of personal struggles only raised more questions. His apology, which seemed more focused on convincing his followers that his actions were beyond his control, left viewers divided. Was he truly remorseful, or was he simply trying to salvage his career? As Kirk's apology gained traction online, Rasheeda's response was nothing short of dramatic. She took to her social media, posting a photo of herself with a powerful caption, "I don't need an apology, I need action." Her words struck a chord, echoing loudly among her followers, who rallied behind her, offering their unwavering support. Rasheeda's decision to prioritize her own well-being over Kirk's plea for redemption was a defining moment. With the world watching and the drama at its peak, fans were left on edge. Would Rasheeda choose to forgive Kirk and attempt to rebuild their marriage, or would she make the ultimate decision to leave him behind and reclaim her life? The stakes had never been higher, and everything seemed to be hanging in the balance. As the climax of this explosive scandal loomed, the burning question on everyone's mind remained. Would Rasheeda forgive Kirk, or would she walk away from the man who had shattered her trust? As the world waited with bated breath, the burning question remained. Would Rasheeda choose to rebuild her marriage, or was this the final chapter in their relationship? The public, the media, and fans alike were on the edge of their seats, eager to know what would happen next. This was a pivotal moment in Rasheeda's life, one that would define her future. Would she stand by her husband, or was the damage too deep to repair? As the weeks passed, Rasheeda took time for herself, making it clear through her social media posts that she was focused on self-care and healing. But the emotional toll of Kirk's actions was undeniable. The constant media attention only magnified the weight of her decision. The public scrutiny and relentless pressure from fans and family members to make a decision weighed heavily on Rasheeda. She knew that whatever choice she made would have far-reaching consequences, not only for her, but for her children, her business, and her brand. In a candid interview, Rasheeda admitted that the betrayal had shaken her to her core. She confessed that while she still loved Kirk, she wasn't sure if their relationship could survive the crushing weight of his actions. It was clear that, in the back of her mind, the idea of moving on from Kirk was slowly but surely becoming a more realistic possibility. The idea of moving on from Kirk was becoming more of a reality. But Rasheeda knew that leaving wasn't as simple as just packing her bags and walking out the door. They had built a life together, a life filled with shared memories, common goals, and their children, who were now old enough to understand the complexities of the situation. Rasheeda spoke openly about the internal battle she faced every day, torn between staying in the marriage for the sake of her family and leaving to reclaim her own happiness. She admitted that the decision was a constant tug of war between the love she once shared with Kirk and the painful reality of his betrayal. For the first time in years, Rasheeda began to consider her own needs and desires, something she had neglected for far too long. The media buzzed with speculation, and fans hung on every update, eager to see how she was managing the fallout. But then, in a surprising move, Rasheeda decided to take a trip, a much-needed escape from the relentless chaos. It was a chance to be alone, to breathe. During this time of solitude, she took a deep dive into her emotions, reflecting on everything she had endured and what kind of future she truly desired for herself. As Rasheeda looked ahead, it became clear that the issue at hand was no longer just about the affair. It was about reclaiming control over her own life, her career, and her sense of self. While Rasheeda was away, Kirk seemed to step up in ways he hadn't before. He publicly acknowledged the depth of the hurt he had caused, admitting that the damage couldn't be easily fixed. But he also expressed a commitment to doing whatever it took to repair their relationship. At times, his actions appeared sincere, and many fans took notice as he made an effort to support Rasheeda's business ventures and be more present in her life. As Rasheeda returned from her trip, there was a noticeable shift in her demeanor. She seemed more centered, more at peace with the direction her life was taking. It was clear that the decision-making process was far from over, but Rasheeda had reached a place of clarity. She began to realize that her worth wasn't defined by Kirk's actions, and that no matter what happened, she had the strength to move forward on her own. The weight of the past was still there, but it no longer had the power to control her. In another surprising move, Rasheeda announced that she would be stepping back from public appearances and interviews for a while. It was clear that she wanted to focus on herself, her family, and her future without the constant pressure of the spotlight. Fans who had been so deeply invested in her journey were left wondering what this meant for her marriage. Was Rasheeda stepping away from Kirk for good, or was this just a temporary pause as she gathered her strength to move forward?